Hello, BookTube. I'm here to do a book tag, and I was tagged by Gavin at Genre Books. And the tag is How do we rate our books BookTube tag? Now, when I read the prompts and watched Gavin's video, it sounded very familiar, but I can't seem to find it in my playlist. And when I did a search on the on YouTube, it looks like it was popular 9 months ago, and it was created by Emily at Novelle Novels, and I'm gonna have to search on her page because it's probably back 9 months or a year ago. So it's unlikely that I actually did do it. And I assume that I did a booktube tag that was had some similar questions, and it's got to do with the rating system for books, the star system, and it consists of 9 prompts. The first one is, how often do you DNF, and what makes you DNF? I don't really care for the term DNF. Just call it the did not finish or something like that. I don't like the contractions of a lot of times. But I generally don't. I may start a book and I don't get very far into it, and if it's not working for me, I'll put it down. But it's like I wouldn't call that a DNF. Like to me, did not finish would be getting halfway through the book and putting it aside. And I have done that on a few occasions, but I've tried to come back, and I'm just trying to think. There might be one or two that I haven't yet gone back and finished, but it's not something that I generally do. If I read a few pages, like 10 or 12 pages, and I don't like the book, I don't like the style of writing, or there's something about it, I may not go back to it. But I don't call that do not finish, because 10, 15, 20 pages it's not much, especially if it's a long book. So, um, number two, do you rate books 1 star? Okay, well, this is the star system. And I never really thought of it because I just didn't like the star system. And I remember the other booktube tag that I did, and this came up. And while I was answering the questions, I sort of formulated in my mind how I would use the star system if I actually did use it in a, kept a record of it. Now, and the first one is like, yeah, do you rate books 1 star? Now, in my mind, only a small fraction of books would be 1 star, and they'd have to be extremely, extremely bad. Um, I've picked up some things that were, and I've tried to read a few things that were self published in the past, and like the first paragraph, there's just so many errors in it that to me that would be a 1 star for sure, or something that's just so inept, and that usually doesn't happen. And the only time that like if it's with a publisher, generally, I sort of think that there's somebody there that's an editor that will actually do something, and I may not like the book, but 1 star, yeah, it's I would say it would be rare if I actually judiciously use the rating system. And what is a 2 star book to you? See, basically uh, two stars, and well, the next one is a 3 star book, a good book for you. I would say 98% of the books I read are 2 and 3 star books. That's how I would rate it, because to me, a 2 star means that, yeah, it was okay, nothing special. It was okay. Three, I would go, yeah, I really enjoyed that book. I really liked it. Number three. And that would be a smaller percentage. That would be, like I'd say 98% would be 2 and 3. So I would say probably 70% of books, or 60, 50, maybe 50-50. It's hard to say, but it would be a book that I would go, yeah, it's okay. And three would be, yeah, I really enjoyed that book. And see, this is where I'm a little different than most people with the rating system here. And then what does 4 stars mean to you? Well, 4 stars is getting like when I read it, I go, damn, yeah, this is good. This is a small percentage of books that I would say I definitely need to reread this book because there's something here that I can see, and it may very well, become a favorite of mine. And that's very rare, though. That is rare. That when I read a book, that I go, "Damn, this is special to me." Uh, and do you ever do half-star ratings? That's question number 6. And like, I suppose I would, because like I say, if it's a 4 book that I extremely like, and then on the second reading of it, I would say, yeah, this is really good. It's not top shelf, it's not top, but it's very good. It's near there. It's very close to it. So yeah, so I could conceivably see putting it at 4.5. Do you rate books 5 stars often? And what do 5 star books do to make them rate that high? Yeah. Well, that's on a reread, and basically, it has to be, it's sometimes I feel like, this is something that's really good when I first read it, but it really has to be on at least the second reading. And there's books like that for me, like Les Miserables. I've read it 5 or 6 times. I'm going to read it again in April, starting next week. Now, that book is, for me, a 5, like hands down. That's a 5. There's no question there. City by Clifford Simak. That's a 5. But you see, this thing is, there's different grades, there's different shades of 5 as well. Um, so yeah, so maybe 4.8. But yeah, it has to be something on a reread. It would be something that I first read, like those books that I would have said, if I actually used the rating system at the time, I would have said, yeah, there's a good chance this is going to be a 5, but I need to reread it. Like Hyperion was that way. When I first read that, it blew me away, and then I was 100% certain on the second read. And there's books like that. Has your rating of books changed over the years? Well, as I said, I never really rated books in that way. I just had favorites, and then I go, eh. But if I'm putting stars on them, then that's how I would do it. And I always thought the same way. I always thought that the majority of books I read are good. Like, I mean, like I say, if a rating system, I would say most are like 2 and 3. Like I said, 98% are 2 and 3. It's a very small percentage that hit the 4. So it really hasn't changed. And then number 9, the last question is, where do you record your ratings of your books? I don't, and I haven't. Like, I do have a Goodreads account, but I don't use it, and uh, yeah, it's I don't know why. It's just something that I don't. And as I say, when the majority of books that I read are 2 and 3, I don't really need to know that. And when there's so few that are 4 and 5, and very few that are 5, I can basically remember those in my head. Like, we're not talking a huge number of books. I know which ones are 5, because like I say, they have to be books that I've reread. But yeah, I just generally don't keep track of that kind of thing, other than in my head, meaning that most are 2 and 3. Thinking of the star system now, most are 2 and 3, and a few are 4s, and then even fewer are 5s. So yeah, I'm not going to tag anybody in this, because when I went through the search on YouTube seemed like a lot of people were doing this, and a lot of booktubers that I follow were doing this about 9 months ago, but I wasn't that active on booktube about 9 months ago, so I'll pass on that. But thanks, Gavin, for for tagging me and sort of thinking through again what if I actually did use the star system, how I would do it. And this is how I would do it. And I know it's not like that for most people, but that's the only way that it would make sense for me. And thanks to Emily for creating the tag. Thank you, BookTube.